non-stop StarCraft action here for you this evening, guys, and we have spawning over here in the top left position of Ohana, representing Mousesports, getting caught completely off guard in game number 1. We have HasuObs. Very solid, very good all-round player, capable of making deep runs through tournaments, but this is the lower bracket. And that is a problem because he is 1-0 down at the moment to one half of the Spanish Armada over here in the bottom right-hand side, representing Caronte Esports. Ladies and gentlemen, we have none other than VortiX, catching Hasu off guard with that excellent two-base play after the hatch cancel. Hasu just had no map vision because VortiX was commanding the watchtowers, made sure there were no probes out on the map, and he did very, very well indeed to catch his opponent off guard. Now let's see what these players decide to do in game number 2. Hasu, I can guarantee, is going to be a lot more careful and a lot more diligent with his scouting in this particular game. He does not want the same thing to happen twice in a row. If VortiX feels that the same thing would work twice in a row, then he'd go for it. But HasuObs has obviously been made very wary after that first game, and I don't expect him to make the same mistake twice. Of course, with the mind games, etc., it is entirely possible that he might go for the same thing twice because it would technically be counterintuitive. But let's see if he's able to get away with it. And Hasu actually putting down the Forge first before going into his natural expansion, was thinking about the Nexus first there and decided against it in the end. So Pylon, Forge into Nexus. Probably not going to make too much of a difference to his build in the early game, but he really wants to make sure he keeps on track of what VortiX is doing. Second hatchery now down for VortiX, waiting for that third hatchery in just a little while. We actually have 6 Zerglings popping out of him here. Now, this is interesting. Let's take... Oh, pardon me, 4 at the moment with another 2 incoming. Okay, so typically we see Protoss, Zerg players rather, come out with 4 Zerglings. 4 is the magic number of Zerglings you need so that if a Protoss player decides to pylon block your base or something super annoying, you can actually do damage faster than the pylon gets built, so it gets cancelled very quickly. With 2 Lings, you can actually leave the pylon there and it will still continue to gain hit points, so that's a problem. But 6 means that he's trying to see if he can sneak some Zerglings into the base of HasuObs, and he was trying to be aggressive there, and Hasu was ready for it. 2 gateways, a pylon and a photon cannon in the front, and Hero Probe, ladies and gentlemen, completely blocking off the front. So VortiX taking a little bit of a gamble with those extra 2 Zerglings, which of course could have been another drone, and basically running into the wall of Hasu and unable to progress further. So good defense there from HasuObs, who grabs both of his gases. Now the Overlord, of course, sees absolutely everything inside the main base. And Hasu is now going to be sending a probe out through a really cool part of the map. He wants to go via the 4th base and try and sneak around the side of these watchtowers so that he can go in and verify the 3rd base is up for VortiX without VortiX knowing that the scout is out there. Is he gonna very briefly pop into Xel'Naga vision? Or if he didn't before, he certainly is soon. Very, very careful with his waypoints, and now VortiX is going to know that the probe scout is coming in. So the probe actually will be able to pop in after the 3rd hatchery completes entirely. So definitely not a tricky play coming out of VortiX like we did in game number 1. He sees the creep of the natural expansion, knows that it's there, and he does spot that the 3rd base is out as well. So a good scouting from HasuObs, knows that he doesn't need to worry about the exact same thing that happened last game. He is going to be researching +1 ground weapons there at his forge behind his mineral line. Overlord has not yet seen this from VortiX. He's probably going to want to pop in and scan at some point soon. Once he reaches a point where he feels that HasuObs is currently going to be able to head up to tech. We've got 2 gases here and the robotics facility coming down right now, so it's not going to be some sort of ultra-fast gateway attack coming out of HasuObs here. And VortiX, in the meantime, is playing this pretty normally. We see it's a 6-minute 40 mark. 3 gases are on their way and about to complete. And it looks like both sides are going to be macroing it up to a relatively standard game 2 as it currently stands. Roach 1 starting for VortiX here. We have the Overlord spotting that the robotics facility is down. And a cool decision to actually move south instead of move left. It would be so easy just to move left and see, oh, what's upgrading at the Forge. But he knows that Protoss players love hiding their tech from Zerg players in this little strip because it's the maximum distance for an overload travel. And as a result, VortiX able to see the robotics facility going down. We have 2 more gateways, 3 more gateways popping down behind the mineral line. That doesn't tell us an awful lot just yet. He's going up to 4. Let's see if he decides to go up to any more in the near future. So he's going to have a decent unit production. He has got an Immortal and a Sentry. This could potentially be a Sentry Immortal bust coming out of HasuObs, so we'll have to wait and see. And in the meantime, we have the layer now coming out from VortiX. Zergling speed has started for him. Another round of drones on the way. The worker count currently stands at 63 versus the 47 of HasuObs. So his economy is looking pretty healthy. He's now going to start thinking about very soon what kind of army composition he would like. And to facilitate that, he's going to try and get as much scouting done as possible. Now the overload was picked off, so he's going to want to do a little bit more. And that is a lot of gateways being added on. We have 6 gateways being added, which brings us to a total of 7 here in the base of HasuObs. We have the robotics facility chrono boosting out those Immortals as well. So it looks like he's going to be going for a massive timing off of 2 base. VortiX, in the meantime, has got links congregated at Hasu's watchtower, so he will know that it's coming quite far in advance. He's getting about 20 roaches out on the field as it currently stands. Glial Reconstitution has just started, so that's going to not help him as far as attacking is concerned. It'll take him a little bit longer to move out across the map, but it's actually HasuObs that's going to be going for the aggression here, with a huge Sentry Immortal base play. War Prism coming out for him as well, and there he goes, moving out across the map. He is leading with a Zealot, but VortiX is going to have no illusions as to what this is, because directly behind the Zealot are a lot of Immortals and a lot of Sentries. He's trying to bait out force fields from HasuObs, successfully baits out 4 there, and HasuObs needs to be careful. He has enough energy to use force fields once he gets to VortiX's base. VortiX doing a great job so far, just trying to limit the amount of energy on those sentries. Now, we have seen some Protosses go for a situation where they just continue to warp in sentry after sentry after sentry, and as a result, even if force fields get baited out of them in the early game, that's not a problem because sheer numbers mean that it's okay for him to continue. Let's see if that's what HasuObs chooses to do here. And no, he's actually going to be going for a big warp in of Zealots here. So they're going to be able to tank a lot of the damage down there, and they're basically going to be acting in lieu of a force field or 2, being able to buffer away a lot of those links. He's just taking apart the destructible rocks now before moving in, and it looks like VortiX is ready for him. A lot of roaches here. Good force fields to keep the army out, but the Lings on the high ground are able to give him unit vision for now. And does he have vision of the high ground? He does not at the moment. So HasuObs with good positioning there post force field has VortiX unable to get any leeway on the high ground. Now Hasu moving into the 3rd base. More force fields getting baited out here from VortiX, but HasuObs still does have some available. Good surround there though, and the force fields are being used in the back as well as the front. And it looks like VortiX might be able to hold on here. It's really difficult to tell right now because some Zealots are still alive and they're tanking and doing a lot of damage. Hasu at 99 supply versus the 113 of VortiX, but he has a fresh supply of roaches coming in from the top of the natural expansion. Drones being pulled as well. VortiX feeling that this is desperate times here. They are surrounding and killing a sentry or 2, but more and more Zealots being warped out here from HasuObs. And it looks like HasuObs may have done it. VortiX dropping below him in supply. And VortiX had a lot of units at the beginning of this engagement, but HasuObs using the Zealots to great effect, tanking a lot of that damage even when he didn't have that many force fields left available, and as a result he is going to win game number 2 to tie the series up 1-1.